if you haven't had a speeding camera fine in Queensland in the last 10 years, you're doing better than average. Okay, why? Well, I did some figures to check the whole thing out. So to need that, I need to share my screen, which I'm about to do now. Okay. Share my whole screen. Okay. This is what it's all about. All right. All governments insist that speed cameras are only for safety reasons. However, based on the number of people caught speeding by screen cameras and the amount collected over a 10-year period ending in 2018, it appeared that on average, more than all the drivers, that's 170% of drivers, are driving unsafe. Now, based on the number of road accidents, I don't believe that the speed cameras are only used for safety reasons. I think the main reason they're used is for revenue reasons and to make the public feel like roads are safe. Hence, I suggest you contact your local state politician and ask him to change the signage for speed cameras to reflect reality. So, and here's my suggestion of the signage that should be used. All right. Road revenue cameras. I've changed them. My editing is not too good, so rather than say, let's change the way we look at speed, how about let's change the way we look at dollars? And once again, road revenue cameras. You can probably get an appreciation of why I'm doing this, all right? And road dollars first before anything else. Anyway, statistics, where did I get all these statistics, right? Okay. For the 10-year period ending on the 2018, there were 5,723,803 people received speed camera infringement notice. Okay. In the same period, there were an average 3,365,826 licensed drivers in Queensland. On average, that's 1.7 times. Well, I said 170%, but 1.7 times of them received, 1.7 of them received a traffic infringement notice. Now, I got this information from Department of Transport, Main Roads, their reports. They produce an annual report every year. So I'll just go to that link to show you the annual report. Or you get them all. And those annual reports you can get. There's the latest one, 2018-19, right? However, if you go back here, down the bottom here somewhere, opened previous annual reports, if you go to download the previous annual reports, they go back to 2008, all right? So there's all the previous reports. So what I did is downloaded the reports, grabbed the data out of the reports and created this spreadsheet, right out, this one here. So that's every year. That's the mobile cameras, the fixed cameras, and the point-to-point cameras. The mobile ones are ones that, you know, they can move around from place to place. The fixed ones are fixed at a particular point, like under bridges and stuff like that. The point-to-point ones, there's a camera at one position, a camera at another position. If you go past that camera at different points in time, and they know, identify you by your license number plate, they reckon you must have been speeding to get from there to there at that particular time. Notice the figures are a lot lower for point to point, but there's the total. Started at 360,000, 356, etc., up to 500, 700, 800. In 2015, there was 42,000. Then the figures seem to decrease a little bit and then go up, decrease a little bit and then start to go up again. There's the cumulative figures. That's each figure and the year added to it. So the figures accumulate. So at the end of 2018, from 2009 to 2008, it was a 10-year period, there are 5.7 million people received a speeding infringement notice. Yet, if we look at all the drivers, that's how many registered drivers, how many licensed drivers are there at each year. So rather than, because it's over a 10-year period, rather than doing it for the latest figure, which is still, by the way, 156% of all drivers had a infringement notice, right? I averaged the whole thing and it came at 3.3 million. So that's on average, every 1.7 persons in the last 10 years on average received a speeding infringement notice. So that means, from a safety point of view, that we'll just go back to my original page. From a safety point of view, that means that they reckon 1.7 people, more than all the people, 1.7 people, more than all the people are driving unsafely. However, based on, let's look at some road fatality statistics, all right? Road fatality statistics. Based on a report that's below, which that report starts there, and I've got the link to where I actually got the report, speeding is likely to drop off as the major characteristics of fatalities. It is only just over 20%, which is the criteria drop-off point. Alcohol and drugs are 48% of all fatalities, almost 2.5 times more than the major characteristics of road fatalities compared to speeding. So from a political point of view, I would suggest it's easier to automate the prosecution of speeding than it is the offence of drink driving. So this is the figures that's in the report that they say here. You can have a look at that report later on if you want to. And it's the link to where I got the report. You can do a search for yourself to do that. There's once again, these the main roads. Now, my take on all this is, if governments were really, really, really interested in stopping people speeding, they would, in exceeding a speed limit, they would force the collection of all GPS data from all mobile phones and automatically issue penalty notice based on that data. However, this would probably be unpalatable because most people would be receiving penalty notices most of the time, and there will be gigantic public backlash. Just one other thing about all this, if you go to Wikipedia, right, and have a look at their things on traffic cameras, traffic enforcement cameras, there's a whole set of legal issues involved in it. There's some people in United Kingdom challenged the Road Safety Act, saying that it infringed people's human rights. Well, that went all the way to the European Court of Justice, and that was canned, unfortunately. There's a whole lot of thing about accuracy of speed cameras, right? There's also the issue of the effectiveness of speed cameras. One of the things that the issue came about was there was one stage apparently a speed camera being used in certain places, and because they ran out of revenue, they stopped doing it. The difference in deaths between and serious injuries was insignificantly different. So the speed, even though they say speed cameras save lives, they don't. However, there's public outcry about all this sort of thing. So what's the public outcry? What do they say? A lot of people think it's revenue, not safety, which is what I'm saying, and unpopular. But it's interesting. Apparently, a report was done. Where are we? In Australia in 2002. That's saying that people actually thought there should be more speed cameras. I wonder if you did the same thing today, if they actually saw those statistics that I'm actually showing people, they'd think the same thing. Anyway, apparently in Queensland we're pretty lucky because you only get about $188 fine as the lowest fine for infringing speed cameras. In Victoria, that same amount is $350. Yet in Victoria, fatalities and accidents are increasing, not decreasing. All right. Well, all depends on which way you look at it, in absolute numbers or per head of 100,000 population. Anyway, that's my big thing on the whole thing. Where am I going back to? So I reckon you should everyone should write to the local member of parliament and say they need to change these signage and not call them road safety cameras, but call them road dollar cameras or road revenue cameras. Okay, and see what would happen. Just one little side issue. If every single person that got a speeding infringement notice said, no, they're not going to pay the fine, and they took it to court, the courts would be overwhelmed. and the court system couldn't be able to handle it, just like our health system can't handle the current virus situation. So that's another way of looking at it. Okay, any questions, ask me, but I'll have to stop sharing, come back to me, and I'm going to stop the recording.